let me just make sure before I turn the camera around that everything is looking correct. Okay, so what have we got here? And okay, how are we all doing today? As always, I am Julie Hall and I am very happy to be here. Thank you for joining us, whether you are with us on YouTube or Facebook. We are so happy to have you here. Today marks the first in our evening block of the month for this year, which is the Deco Divas. So the Divas were created around about 10 years ago, and it was just as sort of those larger hoops came in, and I think at the time I had a 200 by 360 hoop, and I was really so excited to finally get something that I could use those with. And what I did was create this great set of designs, and what I love about them and what's encouraged me to then do this as our block of the month this year is so many people last year were telling me, oh, they've made 3, 4, 5 of these quilts because everybody loves them so much. So I really just wanted to make sure that, particularly for our new embroiderers, you had all seen these and had the opportunity to play with them. And I know you're going to love them as much as I do. And feel free to drop in and say hello. I can see we've got Ros Preston and Carol Pardon. And Gail Murphy with us. Yes, happy Australia Day. I hope you've all had a very nice day. But the first thing I want to do is show you what my block tonight is going to look like when I'm finished. So I found this fantastic grey fabric, and I'm just going to come up so that you can see. It's got a little bit of texture in it. Just like 2 shades of grey, so that I can see like different elements in it, and it's just adding that little bit more to everything. The other thing that I wanted to show, and I can see Selena's here as well, and Selena, that's our Tuesday morning block of the month. That's the lovely one, and the video is up there of that one if you are interested. So I have had a lot of questions after I put in the requirements that I was using the embroiderer's felt. Now, the felt, if you haven't tried it before, and I'm just going to show you just how thin it is. It's a much more luscious, less fibrous feel than a regular felt. And what it does is, I have not ironed this project. I've stitched it out. I've removed the extra stitches around, and that is it. There has been no ironing in it. And what you can see there is there's also no puckering. And that's because this embroiderer's felt really does just support the fabric. When it comes to quilting, I will still put another piece, or a proper piece of quilter's wadding underneath that quilt when I go to quilt it all together. And I can see we've got Wanda with us and Barbara Evans as well. Hello. So yes, that's the first thing that I wanted to show. I used to use the iron-on Pellon, the stuff that was about 5 mil, 1/4 inch thick, but I found over time it was coming away and kind of clogging up and making things look not so nice. So when I found embroiderer's felt, I switched. We're also going to do some work with metallic thread this evening, and I know metallic thread scares people. My love of metallic thread, I have been very, very blessed. After having 1 or 2 rolls of really crappy stuff, I got put onto Kingstar, and It's the only stuff I use. We do now sell it, and it is just beautiful. And I'm so thrilled. I'll show you, because I was playing a little bit of thread roulette this afternoon. So when I looked at my threads, I thought, okay, what can I go and use up? And I got down to this much on my metallic copper thread. So I'm rather proud of my using up abilities. I was trying to sit there and work out whether I was going to have to do something different or what. But I think I've gotten away with it. As always, I've got a couple of new things to show you at the end. And I can see we've got Nancy Cook. Barbara Evans is saying, absolutely, King Star is just, you know, all hail, all hail. So you will see me throughout the year. And look, quite honestly, I rethreaded once in this project. And that was because it was me stuffing around, not the thread or the machine. Okay, so let's get started and have a look at how we are going to do these gorgeous blocks. So to start with, now as I said, I'm doing the 180 by 280 size, and I've cut my fabric maybe about 4 inches larger all around. What I do tell people is go at least 3 inches, because then you can have a 1-inch border on each side and allow for sucking in. And what I've got here is I've got my water-soluble thread. If you haven't used water-soluble thread before, give it a go. It is amazing. And I'm using the free basting stitch to baste the block down. I need more basting than my machine is going to give me. This holds it from multiple levels. And we've got Kim Macon with us as well. Hi, Kim. Now, if you've never done any applique with me before, I possibly do it a little bit differently than other digitizers. Once again, laziness is the name of my game. So, when I do my applique, I lay all the fabric down in one fell swoop, and then I come through and look at doing all of the satin stitches. So we're going to start off here doing our face, and I think the face and body fabrics are the hardest fabrics I have trouble with picking out. But I had, and don't discount, I'm just looking at that little piece of fabric as it was flipped up. That would actually be quite nice using the wrong side of the fabric. And we've got Carol Wren with us as well. Good evening, Carol. I hope you're having a stupendous day. Now, applique is all about the cutting. I love my little curved scissors for this, and they're my squeeze scissors. But because they have such a sharp, beautiful end on them, and they sit close to the fabric, you can actually get a good cut. And now that was me just stuffing up a little bit there, to be honest. Now, fabric wise, one of the joys of these designs is that it's not just putting it on and adding a satin stitch. I do a whole lot of texture as I do this. So do not be afraid to use plain fabrics, or to use something a little more outgoing as well. And once again, my goal is to not purchase fabrics for the project. So now we're going to move on to the hair. And I've decided, because in previous incantations of this quilt, when I've done the dark background, I've used light coloured hair. When I've done the light background, I've used dark coloured hair. This time, I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to use a whole lot of different hair colours. And look, you could use a whole lot of different background colours as well. This really would lend to doing that. And I tell you what, if I hadn't already bought my background fabric and cut it up this afternoon, I would honestly be very much considering doing that myself. Okay, now our gorgeous cloche hat. And this is the fabric that I used when I did the Father's Day pillow. And I love that the fabrics come with such memories. Okay. Murphy's Law says we have to replace our bobbin. So, anybody get up to anything exciting today? I actually did not. We had a very quiet day. But tomorrow we are going out to celebrate 20 years married yesterday. So we're going out for a lovely lunch. And then just to show that we're getting old, we've got to go to the doctors together as well. You know, couple who do things together. And then after that, it's going to be all about me. For me, it's going to be all about getting ready. At the end of next week, I'm heading off on a cruise, and I'm hoping to be able to come through live whilst we are on the ship. So we'll have to see how that goes. At the very least, the classes will be ready to rock and roll. Okay, so I am giving Esme here a purple shirt, and part of the reason I'm doing that is because I love the way purple and green work together. They really are one of my favourite fabric matches out there. And good evening, Michelle Reynolds. Thank you for joining us. And it all looks a little bit, like a very basic applique piece, right up until you start adding those threads in here. And Rosalind Preston saying she's spent a quiet day at home, stayed up late stitching out the lunar blocks. I actually stayed up late as well last night. I stayed up and I was getting some new projects up and ready to release. So I think at 4 or 5 this morning, I'm thumping with a hammer on my workbench. So it's very lucky. My workroom is not near any of the bedrooms. And here is my fabulous scarf. The other thing that I did this afternoon was I actually spent time organising my threads in one of my thread drawers. Not by colour or anything like that, but just so that everything is standing up and wound up, and you know, ones that I bought 23 odd years ago and I've just never ever used, because they're a really crap brand and I bought them when I first bought my machine. I got rid of those, and it's amazing how difficult it was to throw something away, but then how good it feels to see the prettily arranged drawer. Okay, so what do we think of the colours? And what colours would you use? So now we're going to come through and actually start our stitching. Now the other thing I'm going to show you through a couple of these pieces is you are always in control. What I mean by that is it's okay to stop the machine and change the colours. And let me just fix up what I'm doing here, and we will start our stitching. Okay. So the way that I've used the threads in this particular block and in the scarf here is all about making the blocks look like they have movement and dimension. So instead of just having that flat piece of applique, what you can see here is the stitching is flowing around the scarf, making it look like it is moving. And that's going to be added further. We'll have further dimension added to that later on when we do, when we give it some draping of the fabric as well. But exciting times here because hallelujah, school goes back on Tuesday for my guys. Now, that'd be lovely if I wasn't going away on Wednesday myself. And I have to confess, you know when you see a new toy and you think, oh, I want that, I've got to have it, and you justify it to yourself. I did that this week, and my new toy is arriving tomorrow. It's actually a tablet that hooks into my computer for digitizing. Because I still suck at that, and converting things just to centimetres, it's a little larger than I thought I'd ordered. But I was kind of hoping that I would be able to take it away with me cruising. So now it's going to be just how big it is when it arrives. So my new toy is supposed to be coming, and one of the things I'm loving when I played with the demo version was just some of the beautiful sketchy stuff it does. So hopefully I'll have lots and lots of new toys to show you. Okay, so each block in this collection has external stitching that adds to that all over look. And it really is a way that if you can think about what colours you're going to use on your sashing and binding or anything like that, you can really bring them in on these external elements and have everything flow together really beautifully. Oh, I want to thank you. I'm loving how they did come together. One of the things I struggle with is if I have done something like once I've got in my mind how I want the colours to look and I've stitched out the sample, I then have trouble visualising it in a different colourway. Okay, and now we're on to the second piece of those external elements, and this one I've done in burgundy just because I thought burgundy always looks great with grey. Now, if you are a mylar person, you could pop a bit of mylar underneath these elements and really have them pop as well. And I might even do that on a couple of the blocks. I'm going to pick and choose with some of these just to add, once again, another element throughout the year of different ways of doing things. My darling sister called me the other day, so her daughter got engaged over in India, Wonderful, wonderful. They went out dress shopping. They found a dress. Fantastic. Because there's only a 10-week lead time. Because he's in education, they kind of need to get married in the school holidays. So they bought her a dress, and then my sister found a dress. And my sister called him, and she was laughing. And her comment was, "I'm worried I've turned into mum." And she bought a fabulous dress apparently, but she bought it a size smaller than she is. So after we finished, laughing, she tells me she's off going for a walk. It was so nice not to be the person who does the silly thing in our relationship. I was quite pleased. My son is now mobile. Finally, all of the dramas of the car have been popped aside. Yesterday, we registered and insured his car. I hope to never hear about the damn thing again. Oh, loving the burgundy as it's coming off on this. I think it's just looking quite elegant. And once again, it's going really well with that green hat as well. I would love to have a hat case. I really don't. I do not look generally good at hats. Oh, okay, so there's a noise coming through. Let me see. Does that make it any better, Anne? Is that making the noise any better? Oops. Let me see. Does that make it any better, Anne? Okay, Denise is saying yes. Cool. Okay. I always feel smug when I win over technology, even if it's just for a minute. Now, soon we're going to move on to... yes, it is just the noise of the machine, but that's okay. Soon we're going to move on to our skin colour. And it's the colour for the outline of the skin. It is always sort of a horror to try and work out. What I recommend is looking for a something that has a mix that is cream, pink, and just a touch of brown. And I love mottled colours generally for skin fabric. I find they work really well. Okay, and good evening to those who are joining us from YouTube as well. Okay. So, and actually what I can do, because I know some of you, is that a fair compromise as well? Because I know some of you get worried that I've gone away if I don't speak for 2 seconds. Now, thankfully, my mouth is very, very used to being open. So that might give just a little bit of background there. And when I did these, it was around the time that Miss Fisher was first being cast on ABC. If any of our beautiful American brethren are watching, I think you guys find it on BritBox. And it is a beautiful series. And the woman who fronts it then ended up on Game of Thrones, I think. But I'm just going to look and see if I can find some images, because and it was all shot in Melbourne, but some of the costumes and things like that were just amazing. So let me come through, and you can see just, I'll just go into the style version. Like, yeah, her costuming was just stunning. And that was really one of the things, apart from the fact that I've always been a huge fan of Art Deco and Art Deco style and furniture, etc., and so forth. That really is one of the things that that convinced me to do this collection. And one month, one of our designs is called Friday. Okay, so now we are up to our face, I'm thinking. Colour guides are, of course, all with it, but do feel free to make them your own. So, our face is the next one. Jessie, Josephine, Alice, Hattie, Violet. No, I didn't call one of them Phryne. Okay. I really thought I had. Oh no, there's just something about the that Art Deco era, isn't there, Selena? Like it really is just such a beautiful, elegant period of our sort of history. Now, if you've done any of my applique before, you will see that once again, this goes that same method of, we are going to do the satin stitching first, and then I finish it off with a triple stitch on each side. And what that does is it just finishes the stitches and gives them a really elegant look. So it does take a little bit longer, but I'm really going for the finished look, and I'm happy to suffer a little bit of time for that. Okay, so now I'm going with a hair colour. No, I'm stuffing this up. No. Now I'm going for my earrings, and for this I'm using my King Star, and I'm using the copper, and it is King Star MA2. Now, I cannot off the top of my head remember what I've got in stock at the moment, but if it's something that I don't have in stock, please do feel free to drop me a line and I'll grab some for you from my stockist. And you can see why I chose this copper, not just to use up the leftovers, which is part of it, don't get me wrong. But I thought the copper was a really nice jumping off point then to the golden hair as well. I thought it went quite well with this particular design. And Miss Fish is one of those things that Grace and I actually watched together. I've dragged her up well. She likes a bit of murder. Okay. Now, to emulate that, I'm also going to then use the copper here in the in those outer elements, just to really bring everything together. It is absolutely metallic. And I haven't changed the needle, I haven't changed the speed, so I'm stitching at 700. I did not change the speed for the metallic. And I find I really don't need to with the King Star. Okay. So then we've just got these little elements. And now we can come through and do our next colour. Okay, so Roz, your question is, can we go that fast on the 15,000? You can. So you can set how fast you want to go. Normally on the 15, and it depends on so many different things. So I do love the question, Roz. Thank you. It depends on your table. If your table shakes, no, you can't. If your threads start to break, then I'd slow it down. But if you're doing regular stitching and everything's working fine, absolutely. It's knowing and having the confidence there that it's your machine and you have the ability to change that however you want. But I will say there's really not a lot of difference between 600, 700 and 800 stitches a minute for our time. It's like speeding. You know, you can go an extra 10Ks over the speed limit. You're really not going to get there that much quicker. So Ray, when you say you have trouble with metallic, what brand are you using, doll? Okay, now the eye elements on this, normally I would do these in black. Today I decided to go a little bit softer and I went with a really dark charcoal grey. So once again, just trying something out. And what you'll notice is all of the satin stitching is also being done so that we're not leaving any exposed edges. Everything is layering over each other so that it comes to the best finish that we can. And so now we've got, I'm doing our shirt. Okay, Selena's saying she uses Hemingworth and hasn't had issues with metallics. Look, absolutely. And sometimes it's as much as just holding your mouth the right way. You know, sometimes there just isn't rhyme or reason. I had a friend who was using soft lights for a project the other day. They've worked for her before. She put them into her machine. Nothing has changed. Except this time they just did not work. And it's why, and you know, you'll see, you will have heard me so far this evening. I love Kingstar. It works for me. I have never had a problem with Kingstar. They are the only ones I do recommend, but I totally acknowledge that other people have great luck with other brands. So it's finding what works for your machine. And so now we're adding some details to our outfit. Okay, so Ray's got a couple of different ones. I mean, look, I've heard all of the stories, all of the folklore about what to do. I have put things in the freezer if I've needed to before. What I do if I'm having a terribly bad day is I will use a touch of the thread serum on it, just to sort of lubricate it through. And that will get me, you know, out of a lot of trouble. But when I was throwing away thread this morning, I've got a beautiful multi-coloured metallic thread. I obviously picked it up because of the beautiful colours on it. It's crap. It's the only way to say it. And it's actually what I used on one of the blocks. There's one of the Diva blocks which has a very big feather. I think it's Florence. And it was just horrific. Really not worth using. And absolutely, Ray, I've heard of people doing that as well, giving it a longer path. I actually purchased a product that somebody had recommended to me, which was supposed to thread it through easier. And I tried it, and I actually tried it today. And I think that's a little bit of BS, so I won't be using or selling that. But that's fine. This is how we learn. Okay. Now, if you want to go a little bit more dramatic, you could use a darker colour purple for the stitching than the fabric. So it really is up to you where you want to put the details in. And again, we've got that triple stitch. Now don't worry that it's not going to go up the left hand side there, because of course that is going to be purple. Now each of these gals has a beautiful rosy cheek, and I tried to be, I think the thread that I've chosen, next time I'll do a little bit of a darker rosy cheek, because it really hasn't come through and shown up as much as I would like. So I'll go a shade darker next time with my blush. Okay. I must say, I am loving, as like I'm absolutely adoring the new machine, and possibly favourite part of it is just that I'm back having a working needle threader, because I'd busted mine before I'd got the new machine. Okay, so, and what you can see there, if you took notice, is I'm using my finger thang, and that's because right across the very bottom there is where the secured fabric meets the unsecured fabric, and I just didn't want to have any of that puckering up there. Oh, Ray, fantastic question. Do I always baste my blocks? The reason I've done it on this one is because I didn't want to cut the fabric large enough to be fully secured in there. Normally I am a hoop it kind of a gal. So it depends on your machine and what size you're doing. Now, what we're going to come through here and see is this is going to create all the ripples and movement in our scarf. So not only are we just stitching around the design or the applique fabric, we're adding extra stitching in there as well, which is going to give us our movement. The biggest pro for basting your blocks, and this is even if you've got it already, even if you've got it in the hoop, is just that it gives you that extra security. And after all that I go on with about not reusing, the pros and cons of reusing stabilizer and all of that sort of stuff, I reused a scrap because I went from using a large hoop to a small hoop in a project. And I then had to take all the stabilizer off the back, and I thought, you idiot, Julie, why in heaven's names are you doing this? And you can leave off elements, some elements I will say, of these designs as well. So for instance, if you didn't want, the last thing that we're going to stitch is a necklace. If you didn't want the necklace on your particular design, you could leave that off. You could possibly leave off the earrings. I'm just worried that it'll look weird and because it wouldn't have any ear bit on it. Now, the other thing that I must say as well is because I really don't want to keep you here for sort of, 3 hours, I stitched this slightly earlier this afternoon. I'm voicing it over as we speak, and you know that because I'm responding to your questions in real time. So I have this at 200% speed. So don't think that this is what it should, or how quick everything should look. And Christine Annabelle's asking, do you use batting in the design? Okay, what I'm using is Embroidery's felt, which is really thin batting. So it is not in place of stabilizer, it is as well as stabilizer. So you have your stabilizer, you have your Embroiderer's felt, and then you have your fabric. The stabilizer in my case is hooped. Everything else is then basted in using wash away thread, and I've got links to both of these in the details. If you are not in Australia, you might want to look at a product called Parlon. It's about the same thickness. It is a little bit more fibrous, but it will, for lack of a better term, it'll get you through the night, sort of a thing. It's a reasonable product. It's just more expensive than Embroiderer's felt. So I don't think I'm trying to screw over everybody in Australia. And you can see how that is giving us that fluidity of our neck piece. So yes, when we do next Tuesday's class, given the fact that it's first day back at school for my guys, I might already be drunk by the time we start. And good evening, Kathy Shellingsworth. Thank you for coming. And yeah, that was a joke. I don't drink during the day. And I've spent so much time with these Art Deco women over the years. I almost have sort of stories about them in my mind. I'm not sure whether that makes me a really weird person or what. And Rhonda loves saying she's a bit late tonight. Too busy having a swim. Oh. Okay, a little bit jealous there, Rhonda love. And now the one thing I do generally do is I give all of them the same fabulous colour lipstick. And it's always got to be a red for me. And you really can customize this to whomever you are, whomever you're doing it for. You know, if somebody's got colours that they personally like, you know, if they're deco-y sort of people, or they've given you fabric or anything like that, that is, you know, a great way to pay it forward. Now, I'm up to the hat here, and what I've done is I'm going to mess with the system a little bit. In cleaning up, I found this green multicolored thread. I really wanted to use it on the hat, but I don't like using multicolored thread in satin stitching. So I'm going to take the time to stop the machine when it gets to the end of the overstitching and before it starts the satin. And Robin Wheelo's with us as well. Thank you for coming along. And you can see why I like this multicolour. It's just, once again, adding another level of depth to it. And we've got Jasunka with us as well. It's such a pretty overstitching one, isn't it, Selena? The other thing that I have to do this weekend is pay up for my premium internet service while I'm on board the ship. Naturally, my laptop is going with me, and hopefully this new toy as well. But, you know, when inspiration strikes you, and inspiration generally only strikes me when it's inconvenient. So my plan is, and I've talked about this to Dad, that I want to spend, you know, 2 hours just sitting down, having a coffee, doing some work each day. You know, look out, not in the public area, looking over the, you know, the beautiful ocean or whatever. Yeah, I'm hoping, I've got a couple of things in my head that I think some of you maybe might be interested in, that we are thinking of doing. Now, I'm finalising details to go to Taree and Port Macquarie, and hopefully Newcastle and Wyong as well. Oh, Selena, oh, fantastic question. Does she have a beauty spot? No, she doesn't, but so that that little point on the nose is really just showing the shape of the nose. I'm just looking to see who's got the beauty spot. Eloise has a beauty spot, and so does Jessie, and so does Opal, but you could certainly add one on yourself. The other thing that you could really easily do, and have a look at the way the stitching is done on this hat, for instance. Get those hot fix crystals out, boys and girls. Imagine a hot fix crystal between each point on the hat. And I'm actually going, I'll show you guys a picture when we're finished. because I'm actually going to be doing a gorgeous travel bag using these designs later on in the year. Okay, so you can see that my stitching here is coming to a point, and now what I want to do, okay, so it started on the satin, missed a couple of stitches, that's okay, but now I'm going to change over to the thread that more closely matches so that I don't have the stripy satin stitching. And, you know, once again, this is all up to us. We are, for lack of a better term, the owner of our own designs and our own work. So absolutely we get to say what fabrics we want to use, what colours we want to use. And I know a lot of people get concerned. It's one of the things that I see a lot on the different streaming things is just how, on different social media things, is just how concerned people are about the idea of doing applique with their embroidery machine. One of the reasons I love doing applique with my embroidery machine is just because it's such a quick way of doing a project. And I've actually attempted a couple of times to start working on the idea of turning these into regular applique. And every time I have stopped, simply because I can't get the same texture and have it looking as good. Barbara, yeah, you and I are together on this one. And yeah, the one time the thread breaks, it's the quality thread, not the yuckier ones or the metallics, which I thought was just really funny. And now all we've got left is our necklace. And I am denied on whether to do the necklace in a different coloured, oh no, we're going to do my hat sash as well. So this is where I show off my love of green and purple. So I'm going to match it to Esme's shirt. And what it did start me thinking as well was I haven't done an applique collection for a while. The one that I've seen that I'm umming and ahhing on doing is some dolls. And I'm loving the look of them. The only concern that I have is the artwork that I've found lends itself to being a little bit la loopsy-ish. And I don't want that whole, copyright worry thing. So I'm still just looking for the right artwork to inspire me. Okay, now we're up to our necklace, and this is our last colour stitch. So never be afraid when you open an applique design and you have a heart attack at the sheer number of colours. This design has 26 colours in it, but it really only has about 8 or 9, because most of those colours are where you are laying your applique fabric down. So I ummed and ahed, and if I didn't think I was going to have enough thread to do this necklace, my other option was going to be to stop between each bauble and change from copper to silver, copper, silver, copper, silver. Oh, I do love, and what I've tried to do, you can see here with these necklace baubles, I've tried to offset the direction that they're going, once again, so that it's picking up different light, no matter which way the quilt block is sitting. And I'm hoping that you'll agree with me that it's all these different beautiful little elements that really do make the finished product just so much nicer. Now it's a big, deep breath release, because I'm going to make it on my thread. I've got 3 new in the hoops coming up, Ray. I'll show you them in a couple of minutes, because I'm trying to finish off this this never-ending row of vinyl. Okay, so what are we thinking? I am loving how she has turned out, and really happy with that. So to get rid of the wash away thread, I just got a clean damp cloth and popped it over the stitching and removed it. Then I've taken away my excess tear away, and then I'll pop her to the side so that I can wait till I've got 3 blocks to start putting them together. Okay, so a couple of things that I wanted to show you that I've been working on. We have, I can't remember whether I showed you guys this one last week, the zippered pouch. It's the one that I did for using an old pair of jeans, and it was the You Do You from this week, and that's got a couple of different sort of ways of opening, etc. But really easy and simple, under 10-minute coin purse project. Single cam snap, and it's just that one where you can put your coins in there and then it folds over. So perfect for guys as well. Today I popped up on the website the curved zip coin purse for those of you who like something a little bit firmer, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Don't you hate it when things aren't exactly where you want them to be? Okay. Here we go. And so that in the hoop coin purse, and it opens out to sort of all the way. Great for cork. You'll get 2 out of a single piece of zipper. So that one is fantastic. And then the last new one that I've got is an in the hoop tissue pack cover. Now this one is just fantastic. So it holds that vertical set of tissues. You can see I've used an eyelet, a metal eyelet, and a cam snap, and that's what the front of it looks. I've also done it in a separate colorway, and so you get the option to have the bless you or to use the colorful vinyl, whichever suits you, and that will be up on Saturday morning. So you know, think about your inspiration, and there will of course be a YouTube video, and that'll go through on Facebook as well. So that's some of my fun things. Next month's that was the other one that I was going to show you, and so that's the graceful curves bag that I've done using these gorgeous Art Deco designs, and it is just a stunning one. Next month we are going to work on Lola, so I'm going to probably grab out my my luscious gold threads, and I might even see if I've got some metallic red. Actually might go really well with this bit. So lots and lots of pretty things to play with. So I hope you have enjoyed that one. I am loving Lola, and I know that she is Esme, and I know that she is going to look beautiful. Please do share colours with us, because I love seeing what different people do different things in. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And until next week, now next week, where I was going to show you what we are doing next week. and I've lost it. Much like my mind, it has gone away. So we're doing the tissue pack cover next week. It is in the hoop. Let me just grab mine here. So this, and to me this is very Tiffany in style. That's what's inspired me. You'll notice I've always also done one in the gorgeous pinks as well. It really is whatever suits you. So that's what we're going to work on next week. I look forward to seeing you all then. Until next time, have a stitching day, guys. Bye.